What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk on the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Eurostep Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I am your host, Numac, joining you for our our last preview pod of the regular season. That's not to say we won't be back next week. That's for damn sure. Oh, I ruined it already. It's been 50 seconds. Sorry, Ty. And joining me, as always, talk about this week's upcoming match. First, the Chicago Bears. I don't know why I called the game a match.
Chicago Bears.
That is the voice of the lovely Jordan Tresky. Jordan, how you doing, buddy?
With the second overall pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Mitch Trubisky.
Is that your best?
Bears.
Yeah, who?
Yeah.
It's not John Candy. That's so wrong.
George Wentz, Chris Farley,
Yeah, Chris Farley. That's
Robert
who it was.
Smigel.
That,
Usually another.
you pulled the other two names out of a hat. I had Chris Farley. I was getting Chris Farley pretty easy once I got around to it, but the other two guys never would have in a million years. But yes, Packers face off against the Bears this week at Lambeau Field. Need a win to secure their playoff spot, potentially up to 6 if they get some help from their friends. But before we get into the matchup with the Bears, we have to go over the Packers' absolute dismantling of the Minnesota Vikings this past Sunday and hand out some cheeses because they are definitely some deserving candidates this week because it was a pretty good game, Jordan. Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say it was a pretty good game on Sunday?
Pretty good game. I think this might be the hardest week to give out cheeses.
Yeah.
Biggest victory of the year obviously requires a lot of good candidates. So, and we certainly have plenty.
Yeah, when you beat your division rival 33-10 and just absolutely control the entire flow of the game, there's gonna be a lot of cheeses to hand out. I believe on Sunday or on Monday's pod, I said I had 2 locked in already, and we'll have to fight over the third one because it's not easy. So for the candidates, Jordan Love, 24-33, 256 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks, and a rushing TD, and earned himself the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. To go with
Tommy DeVito, Baker Mayfield, suck it. We got it.
We got one. We got one, boys. To go with a 90.8 PFF grade. So definitely a absolute standout stud week for Jordan Love. Probably his best performance of the year, I'd probably argue. Might be up there at the Lions game or
yeah, might be a horse apiece.
Yeah, it's the same idea, just an absolute dismantling of a division opponent. So he is certainly a locked-in candidate, if I'm not mistaken, is what I said.
Are we logging in right now?
Is that what we...
I'm highlighting it in our shared Google Doc.
We said it on Sunday, right? That he was a lock? Or I said it. We can...
Jordan Love is a lock.
All right. Should we go to the other lock?
Wait, what is the other lock?
I thought we talked about the guy in defense.
Have we had second thoughts though?
Well, I guess maybe there's not locks, but we'll go through the rest of them. There's 5 more candidates 5 more candidates. Second one is Aaron Jones, as usual, 20 carries, 120 rushing yards, with 1 reception of 10 yards. Next up is the man of the week, Bo Melton, 6 catches on 9 targets, 105 yards and a touchdown. You were gonna yell, I saw it.
I was gonna say Mo Belton.
Next up is Jaden Reed, 6 catches on 8 targets, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's just in one half because he's just that good.
That's right.
Preston Smith, 1 tackle, 1 sack, 3 QB hits, 4 pressures, and a forced fumble, along with a 90.3 PFF grade. And the last candidate is Corey Ballantyne, 5 tackles, 4 of which were solo. 3 pass breakups, and he was targeted 9 times, only allowing 3 catches for 33 yards. So, with that being said, Jordan, I am curious as to what your thought process is for the other 2 candidates for cheeses this week.
Preston Smith We got to give one to the defense, limiting the Vikings to 10 points.
I think we have to.
Forcing a quarterback change as well. Like that kind of gives you banked in points in my mind. It's style points more than anything, not actual scoreboard points.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm bringing out the highlighter. Preston Smith.
That works for me.
Black. Oh, that's the wrong color.
That's the wrong color. um,
That's two.
I think I'm heavily leaning our third cheese to be Bo Melton. I understand that Jaden Reed had the more touchdowns, but he still had less yards too. I think the lack of a touchdown from Aaron Jones kind of dings him a bit, and I think he just earned it being the type of player he was and is the Packers' first 100-yard receiver this year.
Okay. I'm not discounting that because it is something. It literally just got him a job on the 53
Got him a contract.
So between those two accolades, that's very, kudos to Bo Melton. I will say, Aaron Jones, I think you're correct. The lack of a touchdown, kind of, as much as his performance is willing or deserving of a cheese, we have a lot more candidates. We also literally just saw the same stat line from him a week before,
Right.
which I believe got him a cheese, but still, if it were a different kind of game, we'd be probably more willing to give him one.
Yeah.
Now, my bone to pick, or I guess devil's advocate, is Jada Reed did everything that he did in a half, and it helped blow open the game. Now, did Bo Melton kind of cover the second half with all the big plays that he was making? Sure. He also saw the end zone. But I think that's where it's so close between Melton and Reed.
How many does Reed have?
Well, that's a good point right now. Jay Reed currently has 4. Bo Melton obviously has 0.
I think before we go too
Also,
much further,
Jaden Reed broke the rookie's reception record.
before we get too far in this discussion, Corey Ballantyne also deserving of a cheese. I think
Yes.
I think his stat line has more to do with who was throwing the ball than his coverage, for what it's worth. Like, I think he still played a good game, but
I don't disagree with that, but I will say 3 pass breakups. He's at the right time. You know what I mean?
Yep, no, totally agree.
He was blanket and even Justin Jefferson
I don't
on a
disagree.
few.
I think if they have a real quarterback out there, then that game might look a little different. Or like
Yeah.
at least his line, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's why I'm discounting Corey Ballantyne. So I guess it comes down to Jones, Melton, and Reed. I think you and I both are between Melton and Reed at this point.
Yes.
I'm willing to give it to Jaden Reed because of what you had said.
I'm willing to give it to Bo Melton.
Because
Is this a coin toss?
it might be. I think what our issue, or what I guess what I'm currently thinking about, and the issue I'm facing is we use the cheese board for fun as a gauge for who was having the most impact throughout the season, right? And I'm not. What is that?
Game Stroke.
That's a free ad. It's a free ad, Jordan. Turn it around.
Sorry. Good God.
They use the cheese board as a gauge for who was performing throughout the year, right? And is Jaden Reed second on the cheese board right now?
He is second.
Behind now Jordan Love with 8?
He is pretty much locked in. He will be among the top 2.
Right. And so who's third?
Third right now,
Because
it is a tie. Preston Smith and Romeo Dobbs
with 3,
with 3.
and then Jaden Reed currently has 4.
Jaden Curley has 4. Jordan Love has 7 with tonight's cheese.
So I in my heart of hearts, I feel like you're telling the story of the season with Jaden Reed's. You're just waiting to flip this coin. With Jaden Reed at 4, possibly 5 coming into this game against the Bears this coming week. And the devil's advocate side of that is, does Bull Melton deserve one for what is in essence a 2-game performance between between the Panthers and the Vikings? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. No, I agree completely. And part of it is the best. They say the best ability is availability.
That was gonna be my knock on Jaden Reed earlier, like as to why I think Bull Melton should get it. So ultimately, audio listeners, Jordan dug into a nondescript candy cardboard change collector and pulled out what looks to be either a quarter or a Kennedy nickel.
No, I'm not that rich. I was about to say I'm not that expensive. George Washington is. It's up to George Washington for this cheese.
Well, which side is which?
Well, okay. Bo Melton heads.
Okay.
What state is
What
this?
state is this? You're pulling you're pulling a Jair Alexander right now, Jordan.
Yeah. So, oh my God, it is Missouri.
Missouri?
Missouri. Are any of these guys from Missouri?
I'm sure
The edge.
maybe they're one of either I don't know.
So to reiterate, Bo Melton is heads. Jaden Reed is tails.
All right. There's the flip. Go for it.
It is heads.
There we go.
Bo Melton, welcome
Mo
to
Belton.
the Talk of the Turn. We're saying something.
I'm sorry. Go for it.
Bo Melton, welcome to the Talk of the Tundra. Cheese.
That was the most childlike like cessation of I was like this. I was saying something. All right, folks. That
What
is
happens when you record at 9:30? You get a little punchy.
a little punchy. So that there you have it, folks. Jordan Love, Bo Melton, and Preston Smith are the Week 17 cheese recipients. Congratulations to all of them. Only one more week to earn cheeses, right? I don't think we should go into the postseason with cheeses.
Yeah, it's a regular season thing. This
season
tells
thing.
the story of the regular season.
That's right. That's right. So, all right, let's get into the news and reports. I think the biggest thing that we kind of touched on earlier in the episode, obviously, was with Bo Melton's standout performance against the Vikings on Sunday. He earned himself a contract, in part because they had upgraded Bo Melton from the practice squad to the active roster 3 times, so he didn't have any more activations. If they wanted to keep him, they would, or have him play in a game, they had to sign him to a contract, which they did, which led to another player going on IR, which was Samori Toure. Not really sure what his injury designation was.
No,
I made a joke in the Discord that it was stupid, like stupidity, but I don't want to.
I don't believe that is the official injury.
Spread that publicly.
I have been trying to find which Packers reporter actually said that he was on crutches and was expected to have surgery.
Oh, I did not even.
So yeah, he's like out. Like this is not like, oh, we just need someone to be on the 53, or we need to get someone to be on the 53-man roster. No, it's more like this guy is actually hurt.
Yeah, I didn't hear that at all. Well, that does suck for Samari then. I'm trying to see.
Definitely does.
Yeah, I don't see anything from any of the reporters. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it was a fever dream that I had about Samari Toure with crutches.
It could have been a fever dream. I'm trying to see, because I was just kind of scrolling in it. Because like even like Paul Bruttle's Substack, he doesn't have anything about Samare. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully everything's good with Samare, and that maybe he'll well, I'm sure he'll be back next year for training camp for sure to try and win his spot, but I think it's gonna be tough for him next year for sure. But that is a next year question. So
yes.
In other news, Jair Alexander returned from his suspension, um, and it seems to be locked in to go against the Bears, likely drawing the DJ Moore assignment. Matt Schneeman wrote a piece for The Athletic talking about Jair's suspension with some quotes. This one is from Jair, quote, I think it was definitely something to learn from. There's definitely things that I could have improved upon during that week to help with communication moving forward. That won't happen again. That's the end of the quote. New one, quote, it doesn't affect my relationship with anybody. I think, if anything, it improved it. It was good for both parties to hear both sides. That's kind of what we alluded to. We got down to the nitty gritty. We just all agreed to be on the same page with communication moving forward. End quote. I saw another one where he said he does want to be here next year, which might be kind of chalk talk because he's owed a lot of money. I'd want to be here too for a lot of money. So glad to see that he's in good spirits, seemingly, at least publicly, about it. Isn't going to be too much complaining about it. And hopefully that this does lead to a long and fruitful partnership between Jair Alexander and the Packers. But I think it came out during his suspension week that the fate of Jair on the roster is in the hands of the $20 million roster bonus, I believe,
Yes.
that comes up in March. So whenever the Packers offseason comes, we won't have too long to wait after that to know Jair's fate, essentially.
Yes.
What as he holds up another quarter.
Heads or tails, Jair?
Um, Before we move on to the injury report for the week for the Bears game, I think it's kind of just cool to talk about what Bo Melton said today about getting on the or being
Oh,
on,
I missed this.
about being on the roster. So in the Packers locker room, they have the main 53-man locker room, and then this was from, I believe, who was it? I can see there. No, not Ryan Wood. One of the beat reporters whose name is escaping me at the moment talked about how between Jordan Love's locker and I think it's either Carrington Valentine's or Corey Valentine's, there is a large door, essentially just like a large opening that leads to the practice squad's locker room. Like they don't all share the big locker room. There's just a little smaller room apparently. But Bull Melton came out of the practice squad locker room to do his like media time and talked about how if he doesn't stay with them, they're not going to claim him anymore. And so like he's not like success isn't changing Bull Melton is what I'm trying to get at. And whatever beat reporter tweeted about it said that as well. So I not stealing, but just alluding to this beat reporter who's I could not find, and it's honestly pissing me off.
See, this is what's happening. It's the sorority crunches all over again.
It is. It's the same exact thing. But then to go with that, during Bull Melton's media time, he had talked about how I think since week one, the Jordan Love has hosted a Monday night dinner or an early night in the week dinner to I think with the entire offense, and then the defense was invited too to go over film and just like be a team and have like that bonding time to go and try and be better, which is like honestly really cool for Jordan Love to do. Someone asked if he cooks. He does not cook. He caters, which is funny because like Full Melton was like, yeah, he's a great cook, and then everyone laughed and no cooking. But still, I think it's kind of cool to see that leadership come from Jordan Love so early, particularly coming from last year and years prior as a different
What
form.
was different?
There's just a different form of leadership, Jordan. A little bit of an iron fist. It was Jason Wilde. Oh my God, I finally found it. Jason Wilde reporting on Bull Melton today was where I found it. Holy moly. Different form of leadership last year, Jordan. A little bit of an iron fist rather than a velvet hand
I'm looking for
or velvet
lists.
glove. And what was that?
He's looking for lists.
Yeah. Yeah. But like honestly, it just matters. Like this stuff matters to the young
Yeah.
guys, and I think I'm not gonna say it's like a game changer, but I think it goes a long way for the young guys to be all around one another like that and learning from each other, watching film and just having that bonding time. Like I think that is really huge for a young team.
Yeah, the togetherness of a team at where the Packers are is. I mean, we experienced it with Aaron, with Jordy, with all the, you know, players that would soon make up that Super Bowl winning team in 2011 and then kind of define the Packers of the next decade. So, yeah, that's all you want. You want to see something like that happen. It's not, regardless of what happens on Sunday, we can say, well, as much as there were many ups and downs this year, we can say that there's something to what the Packers have built so far. And having that cohesion only, fosters more, taking that next step and trying to build something even further. So, yeah.
I'm sure it's also helpful for guys like Christian Watson and like other just kind of like often hurt guys. My brain like hard locked there for a second. But like Christian Watson, like Jaden Reed for spells, now Dontavion Wicks. Like I'm sure it's just helpful for those guys to feel like they're a part of the offense still. Not that I don't think they'd like immediately not feel part of it, but I think just in particular for sure Christian Watson, given that he's missed more games than he's going to play this year, and just being a part of the team and understanding that just because he's not out there contributing and having the breakout year like he wanted, he's still a part of it. He's still a crucial part of the offense to where understanding some looks that they're going to see if and when Christian Watson plays is good to have an understanding and things. So all in all, it's just good vibes around the Packers right now as opposed to just the opposite of what it was the last couple of years. Not that winning wasn't fun under Aaron, but
It was trending towards something that was not as fun.
right, exactly. This is just
It
fun.
was trending more towards business.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
They weren't just playing ball anymore. They were to do a job.
we do a job.
Yeah, pick up your lunch pail, do your job, and go home. Chop wood, carry water.
Chop wood, carry water, hop on McAfee.
Who's gonna carry the boats, Jordan?
I don't know. I also there's one note I forgot to include on our little roundup here.
Okay.
Pro Bowl selections came out. Came out.
You could have. I missed it because there wasn't anything important to see. Apparently.
Yes, the Packers are I believe, one of four teams
Yeah.
to not have a Pro Bowl selection this year. Now, they have, yes, I have the four teams in front of me, including the Packers, the Panthers, the Commanders, and the Patriots. Very interesting.
I think it's very disrespectful to the Packers. I understand that they're young, but think about the three other teams you just talked about.
They are the top three in the order, and the Panthers are only top three because they traded away their pick away too.
Yeah, so the Bears get it. But like, yeah, they're the three worst teams in the NFL. And then you have the Packers, who are fighting for a playoff spot in Week 18 and could make the playoffs. And so I understand that the Pro Bowl is in large part a fan vote, so fans won't know all the guys they're supposed to be voting for on the Packers. But like Jordan Love and Jaden Reed, like it's just Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith. Like Preston honestly probably deserves one. Deserves a nod. I think
I have the
is he reserved?
alternates.
Yeah.
I have the alternates. A first alternate is Rashawn Gary.
Mm-hmm.
The other alternates are Kenny Clark, Elton Jenkins, Keyshawn Nixon, and Jair Alexander.
Yeah, I think it might have been Wendell. I forget his last name. He's active on Packers Twitter, but something like Frank or Bobby Wagner or Frank Clark. I forget who got like a Pro Bowl nod, and I think it was Bobby Wagner. It's just like people need to like watch the games rather than just vote because there's people who are deserving of Pro Bowl selections. I think maybe a Packers player on defense could have gotten in over Bobby Wagner. So, there's that. So, Pro Bowl, boo. I'll be more intrigued as to what the All-Pro designations are, and All Rookie team, that too. So, we shall see. We shall see. Should we get into the injury report, Jordan, for the Bears-Packers matchup?
Yeah, let's do it. I know
It's long. I'm going to go through the Bears first so I can just not have to punctuate that. Bears injury report. Backup quarterback Tyson Bagnet is did not practice with an illness. Not that it matters. Running back Khalil Herbert has a back.
Wait. Did you call him? What did you say?
Bagnet. Listen, dog. It is 9:40 on a Thursday, and you. I don't care. What? Tell me how to pronounce it.
Badgett.
Tyson Bagent with an illness. He did not participate Wednesday or Thursday. Not that it matters. Running back Khalil Herbert has a back injury that he suffered, I think, during Wednesday's practice, as he was not listed on Wednesday but was limited on Thursday. Their DB Jalen Johnson has a shoulder injury. He was the DMP both Wednesday and Thursday. Tight end Cole Kmet was upgraded to a limited participant in practice with a knee injury. He did not practice on Wednesday. Old friend Mercedes Lewis had vet rest, did not practice. Darnell Mooney is battling a concussion. He is a DMP both Wednesday and Thursday. DJ Moore was a limited participant in practice with an ankle injury both Wednesday and Thursday. And their long snapper is currently dealing with a foot injury. Patrick Scales probably got stepped on as a long snapper.
Trick question. He's a reptile.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
how crazy would it be the Bears
if he was a
punt,
reptile
and they just see like a what's a reptile? A frog? No, that's not
a frog is an amphibian. I'm gonna let you rock with what you think reptiles are because it seems like a fun game.
Let's go. It's some kind of lizard, but that's just saying lizard is not fun.
You can go with snake.
Let's say that's too easy. Too easy.
A Komodo
dragon. There we go.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Imagine him.
Imagine a Komodo dragon.
A ball. How could he get it through his tail? Am I right?
You're not wrong. We are fully off the rail, folks, but that's a good thing. Big breath. You ready for the Packers one? Because it might be half the team. You can count.
It has been for the last couple weeks.
You can count on your fingers because I can't count while I'm doing this. But first and foremost, Jair Alexander with his lingering shoulder injury was a full participant in practice Wednesday and Thursday. Safety Zane Anderson with a knee injury was limited on Wednesday, was a full participant on Friday. Linebacker Devondre Campbell has a neck injury. He was a full participant Wednesday and Thursday. That's good news to get him back after the kerfuffle of playing with the injury a few games ago and all the drama that was surrounding him. AJ Dillon has a thumb and a neck injury. He was a DMP both Wednesday and Thursday. Hold your count, Jordan. We have to have a brief interruption to join the GSPN Discord because I believe it was Parker in there, if I'm not mistaken, sent a picture. He's like, oh, AJ Dillon has a thumb and a neck injury, and it sent the picture of the dudes from Spy Kids 2 who have the thumbs for heads. And that was like one of the funniest thing I saw, I think, on Wednesday. So go join the GSPN Discord, gspn.info, to find the invite there. Back to the injury report. We are not even close to being through with it. Safety Rudy Ford has a hamstring injury. He was a DMP both Wednesday and Thursday. Elton Jenkins, notably not a was a DMP both days with a knee and an ankle injury. He is in. I guess he is in. He probably won't play. Is where we're going. Where I was going with this. I should say probably won't be, as Jordan mouths shit. I know I ruined it. I know. I think that came out of what Matt LaFleur said today, that they're taking it slow, but I don't think it's optimistic for Elton to play on Sunday. Aaron Jones has a knee injury and now a finger injury. He was a limited participant in practice both days. Isaiah McDuffie did not participate both days with a concussion and a neck injury. Luke Musgrave, coming off of his lacerated kidney, was limited both days. He said that he wants to play. He thinks he can play. I'm not going to trust a man who waited 24 hours to report his lacerated kidney. So, Luke Musgrave, I think you're great. I think you're a great football player. Please just chill.
Did you also see the detail that he in his downtime he was learning flight school, buddy? I don't want you near a plane.
I don't want you near a plane.
Get off my plane. That's by Harrison Ford.
Yes, it was. I think I'm not really sure when that window started for Musgrave if they have to activate him this week, but I don't really know. So I guess we'll see going forward how that's handled. Um, Josh Myers, who went out of Sunday's game with a neck injury, was a limited participant on Wednesday and was a full participant on Friday. Same deal for Keyshawn Nixon, who had a quad injury. He was limited and then full on Thursday. Jaden Reed's lingering chest injury. He had X-rays that came back good. He was limited both Wednesday and Thursday. Um, Safety Darnell Savage has a shoulder injury. He was a full participant both days. TJ Slayton has a knee and a foot injury. He was limited both days. Preston Smith has an ankle injury. He was a DMP both days. Tackle Luke Tenuta, who is also in his designated to return from IR window, has an ankle injury that he's obviously coming off of. He was limited. Or I'm sorry, he was a full participant both days. Quay Walker has a shoulder injury. He was limited on Wednesday and then a full participant on Thursday. Christian Watson limited both days with his lingering hamstring. Dontavian Wicks limited on Wednesday and a full participant on Friday. And last but certainly not least
Oh,
is Emmanuel Wilson in his window to come back from IR, a shoulder injury, a full participant both days.
that is
20
20.
players, more than half of the offense and defensive side of the ball. No, it's not. That'd be 25. I can't count. That's a lot of players. But the good news, Jordan, is that a lot of these players who, like, I shouldn't say matter because honestly, there's a lot of big names on this list. On the offensive side of the ball is where I was going with this, is that Jordan Love seemingly might have his full host or his full cast of receivers on receivers and I guess Aaron Jones, but not AJ Dillon maybe on Sunday against the Bears. Christian Watson was looking good today at practice, according to Rob Dabowski and some of the other beat reporters. Same thing with Dontavian Wicks. Same thing with Jaden Reed. Like it's looking up like maybe Jordan Love might have his full complement of pass catchers to throw to against the Bears.
God can only hope.
It'd be cool.
It'd be very cool.
It'd be pretty
I
cool
don't
if he
know what
did.
the Packers. I don't know what the Packers do with that because what I mean, even week one was probably the healthiest that they were. Even though Christian Watson wasn't
Yeah, he didn't play.
started, and then Aaron Jones got hurt in midway through that game. Some of these players weren't even on the field for a lot of those snaps. Like Dontavian Wicks was definitely not on the field for many snaps that game. So now it's like, okay, so you have everything that you have, you're available to you. How are you gonna work that rotation? It's gonna be really. It's. I think there's a lot of these players. There's like three that come to mind. The whole Luke Musgrave stuff. Don't buy it. I think they want it. They want to have him available. I don't know if he's actually gonna be like football playable. Like, hey, we're gonna throw you the ball, so make sure that ball doesn't explode your kidney again.
I don't want him to play for like
No,
his
I
own
don't.
safety.
I again, and step away from the flight simulator, Luke Musgraver. Luke Musgraver.
Right.
Yeah, I don't envy this part of all these guys coming back, and especially they want to play. There's so much to play for now. So naturally,
Yeah. It's kind of like, do you run your regular starting like rotation, like the guys that you anticipated being the difference makers in the season early on, or do you ride the guys that took you here? Like
yeah,
Jaden Reed's going to play regardless. But when it comes to like Romeo Dobbs or Dontavian Wicks or Romeo Dobbs or Bo Melton, then I guess that'll be some of the strings Matt LaFleur and Adam Stenavich will have to pull on Sunday in a do or die game. Because otherwise it'll be, I think like I'm fine with Romeo Dobbs playing. Obviously, I think he's a touchdown catching machine, but we've both expressed frustrations with him and his ability to, catch the ball once. Like he does a lot of double catching, and it got him in hot water with Adam Thielen during the Panthers game, towards the end of the game. And I think like that's his biggest thing is that he can go up and make a good catch, but 9 times out of 10 he's double catching it, and it leads to problems going to the ground because a lot of his routes are on the outside versus over the middle.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, what
Where
to
art thou?
do? Where art thou, ball, Romeo?
So let's get into the matchup a little bit. Um, as of late, the Chicago Bears have been playing much better as opposed to their
God, it scares me.
abysmal start. The Bears are 4-1 in their last 5 games with a plus 45 point differential. I think it is worth noting that those 4 wins have come against the Vikings, the Lions, the Cardinals, and the Falcons. Not exactly your your cream of the crop opponents. The Lions is a divisional matchup, like that'll happen, but I think that was also week no, because I think it was 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago,
I have it up on here right now. Um,
because that was the game where Goff
that would have
fumbled
been
like
week
four
14, so that
times.
was 4 weeks ago
Yeah,
at
they
this point.
Goff fumbled like 4 times, right? And I think threw in. It was an ugly game for the Lions offense.
God played like crap against both games
Right,
against the Bears.
right. And so, um,
The Vikings win was also the 12-10 win on Monday night that I believe Josh Dobbs was eventually
relieved of his duties for Nick Mullins, I believe.
yeah. So
Right,
there's that.
right. So there's a bit of context as to how those games shook out. But the biggest part of it has been the trade that the Bears swung for Montez Sweat. 6 sacks in 8 games since signing a big extension after being traded from the Commanders, and after their GM had to go on public radio or on talk radio and say they had to play him. Like, right? Are you aware that that happened?
Is this Washington or is this Chicago?
This is Chicago.
So Ryan Poles. Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm almost certain. I want
I,
vamp about Montez Sweat for 2 seconds while I try and find that.
I mean, to defend Ryan Poles for a minute here, I know you said that the NFC North was going to go through Chicago when he got that job. It still has not. But yeah, if you make a play for Montez Sweat and he's up for a contract, you got to pay the man, and he's doing really well right now.
He's doing real well. I think he's definitely earning that contract that
He's
he already earned.
commanding
So
that money
yeah, is that what we're going with?
because he got traded from there.
Yeah, I understand. Is that what we're going with?
Yes.
I believe I saw that somewhere. I don't think I'm pulling it out of the back end, but regardless, he is playing very well for the Bears. And this is from Peter Bukowski. Since the Montez Sweat trade, it's helped the Bears pass rush just kind of exist because before that they didn't have one
Oh,
at all. But for even with the addition of Montez Sweat, they're only 20th in pressure rate since the trade. So still below average. Just need to hopefully avoid him on the line when that comes, and just really focus on giving Jordan Love time, which comes at a very rough time now that Elton Jenkins possibly isn't going to be playing.
yeah.
Worth noting though that in with turnovers, this is a screenshot from in a reply of a tweet, so take that for what you will. The Bears defense has 27 total takeaways,
The
but
third most takeaways in the NFL.
and the most interceptions. So maybe that pass rush over the last few weeks has been helping the secondary get some more turnovers rather than actual sacks.
Plus 10 turnover differential in this 4-1 5 game streak.
That's
Whatever they're
crazy.
called. Yes.
That's
Clearly
crazy.
a pick six.
That's that's pretty nuts, frankly. Like I think a lot of that obviously comes from the golf game, but
Yeah.
averaging 2 picks a game over 5 games, or averaging 2 turnovers a game over 5 games is really good, really good, really good.
Do you know what's really funny though too at the same time? So that like that is a crazy stretch. This is like, pouncing on kind of outlier stuff. The Bears only have a +2 turnover differential on the season. And that's
Wow.
how bad things are going. 15 interceptions and 10 fumbles. Um, yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Um, in that time as well, the Bears have held the Vikings, the Browns, and the Cardinals to under 100 yards rushing during this stretch of games. They're playing well. They're playing very very hot, and they come in. They're coming into Lambeau looking to be like a spoiler essentially, just like the Lions were last year. Um, it's I'm not gonna say it's scary, but I'm nervous. I don't want to be nervous, but I think in my gut, I am a little nervous for this game.
I mean, we did talk about it last week where, you know, I wanted to just play for something in week 18
Mm-hmm.
and before the Vikings game. So this is contingent on the Packers winning. You wanted, I mean, I'm sure we could go back to the record, but you're like, oh, I would be. It wasn't that you'd be fine with losing against the Vikings, but you did not want to have the scenario where the Bears would beat the Packers to force them out of going to the playoffs.
I didn't want to give the Bears a satisfaction, not even a little
Possible
bit.
that the Packers don't give them that to begin with, but it is very clear that this is not the same Bears team. I will say it's also like I like that's the the thing about of facing. Let's run through the last basically since they traded for Montez Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
They played the Saints. They played the Panthers. They lost to the Saints, won against the Panthers, lost to the Lions, which the Lions had to come back crazy for. It was a 31-26 win that was not indicative of the Lions leading that game. It was more the Bears choked and yada yada yada.
Right.
Beating the Vikings in week 12, 12-10 on Monday Night Football, a catastrophe beyond all proportion. Bye week. Somehow they lost that too. They beat the Lions 28-13 coming out of the bye week. Lose to the Browns on a weird Hail Mary call that involved Brad Allen, the infamous ref that is drawing the ire of every NFL fan right now.
Yep.
They lose that game 2017. Beat the Cardinals 27-16. Everybody's beating the Cardinals except for a few. Uh, they beat the Falcons 37-17. Again, the Falcons are one
Not
of the
good.
most milk toast teams that you'll find out there. So part of me is like, okay, what you said before, the strength of schedule is not that high. The best team that they probably be in that stretch is easily the Lions. And the Vikings have been in an abyss because Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles, and they have not been the same outside of two outlier Josh Dobbs performances that everybody thought that he is the next big thing. Their defense terrifies me. Their offense is largely the same. Like I've seen, this is a like I know we're looking at this from a Packers perspective, but this game might be the last that Justin Fields is a starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears,
Yeah.
and might have a lasting impression of what they do for the rest of the decade
And the offseason
and the offseason, clearly.
with the first
So
overall
to
pick that they have.
so to me, like from how the Bears have played, like it certainly is not like rock bottom stuff. They have not been a rock bottom team. They've been a lot better, and I marveled at the fact that they could possibly. I mean, say if they won, they only have a negative 11 point differential. Like that is not indicative of how it was last year, where they were this just god awful team,
Right.
and all that stuff.
It's not indicative of how people talk about the Bears either.
Yes, and I think that yes, that is the point that like I see a lot of like they're frisky and all that stuff, and it is true, but it also like a lot of the stuff that I felt like we thought of the Bears going into the year, they just needed a jump start with talent. They needed more talent, but a lot of the things that they did, investing in their defense, investing in their secondary, now it's like that stuff is where they're making their money. And that's really fueling this comeback. So
Hmm.
that's where the offensive part about it is like, yeah, Justin Fields scares me in a very Packers way because dual threat quarterbacks, as bad of as he's been as a passer for consistent stretches at this point, the guy can just light him up
Hmm.
because, Joe
Really good at,
Barry's.
yeah, really, he's just Joe Barry. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's just really good at escaping pass rush and just scrambling when he needs to. Like I think that's the stereotypical quarterback that beats the Packers. It's what so many. I won't go down the laundry list of quarterbacks that done this to the Packers, but
There's a few this year that we could have said about.
I
That's
know
all we had to do.
exactly. Um, this year the Packers have allowed the third most rushing yards to QBs, um, but they've only allowed one touchdown to those quarterbacks running the ball. So it's basically all of the bend in Joe Barry's defense in those games is coming from quarterbacks running the ball up the middle and scrambling. Like I think that was the majority of what the Giants game was, right? Was just
Yes.
allowing Tommy DeVito to run up and down the field for no care, which is obviously a mistake. Justin Fields, obviously that type of quarterback that is comfortable running with the ball. Second most rushing yards this season from a quarterback, only behind the obvious choice and future MVP or future two-time MVP, Lamar Jackson. And I think notably, he's just good at scrambling in the pocket, scrambling out of the pocket, I should say, and just finding guys open. Like he's not a pocket passer. He's more comfortable playing that sort of college esque style of football where those young guys are more comfortable rolling out of the pocket and throwing on the run. They just are. And so when he ranks third in scramble yards, like we had talked about, 346. And I think with hopefully Devondre's back, if he can try and contain and be like a little bit of a spy, same thing with Quay
Yep.
Walker, like both those guys playing, I think it's going to be very important. But being able to not overextend on your pass rush and not break contain from Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith is going to be really important because I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is how often did we see this season just the Red Sea part up the middle when Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt get pushed to the side and then Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith get too far upfield, and then there's just all the running room in the world for any number one of these guys to really go through and run the ball. And I think that's going to be the difference in this game, frankly.
And not even mobile quarterbacks that we would think in this way to have burned the Packers in that way.
Right. Just it's any quarterback,
Yes.
honestly.
Yep.
And Justin Fields has never went over 100 yards rushing against the Packers. He has he has gotten the end zone in two of his five starts against the Packers. So I would honestly expect him to get in the end zone again against the Packers this Sunday because I think it's just one of their better plays near the goal line is to have a play breakdown or run a QB draw up the middle for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of Justin Fields. I'm just like very aware that he's probably going to run all over us, which is upsetting.
Yeah, it's just a matter of when that drive happens. Does it happen right away?
Yeah, I think that's a big
You
part of it
know,
too. Yeah,
does it happen like the first game, like we think of it now as this like easy breezy game, but it was very much a close game going into halftime. And Packers blew open the door, in the second half.
right.
But Jets Fields was still making plays. He was still doing things that like we expected him to do. And there's been a lot of talk about like, okay, they put the training wheels on him last year and really forced him to be a running quarterback and not necessarily. And obviously, their supporting cast of their top wideout was Chase Claypool, and now he's not even on the team.
Right.
It's the threat that he has in that way, and not for nothing, but like him and DJ Moore do have something going
Yeah.
to the
Oh,
point where
absolutely.
DJ Moore is saying like he doesn't want to play with. He wants to play with Justin Fields. He doesn't want to play with another quarterback that the Bears might draft.
That's
So
tough. Which I get if you look at his season this year, since the Washington game, which was oh, I apologize. That was a different. I was reading the table wrong, but um, he had the Washington game where he went for 230 and 3 touchdowns, and then he had another game over 130, another game over 100. He's got 5 games over 100 yards this year, and what looks like to be 5 games of over 7 catches. Like he's efficient with Justin Fields, and I think it's in part of like he's really the only guy on the team that Justin Fields can throw to. Like they've had a revolving door of cast members between Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, and others that were just not are there for him to throw to. But DJ Moore has been the consistent option all year long for him. So I don't
yeah,
blame DJ Moore for being like, hey, I want to play with this guy because I came from a franchise in the Panthers that had a revolving door of quarterbacks and I wasn't having my best time. And now I'm having success with a quarterback who you guys might be ushering out the door. So
yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the offseason.
Like, but the only reason why I'm bringing that up is that we think of this game as, oh, the Bears have nothing to play for. They're eliminated from playoff contention.
Oh, I
No,
think,
this
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
like to what you're about to say, this could be a huge inflection point. It was for the Lions last year too.
Yep.
Like how they charted the course of the offseason with significant draft capital. The Bears
Mm-hmm.
have even more significant draft capital than the Lions did. But it is that decision of, do you stay with what you got or do you move on?
I
Personally, I
think
would
I,
say you move.
I think the franchise itself has a lot to play for this game, and I think the players have as much to play for as well. I think it's a carbon copy of Week 18 last year against the Lions.
100%. It's the
It's
same
it's the
situation.
same situation. You have an upstart team who's looking to compete soon, trying to figure out their identity against a team who's trying to make it in the playoffs. And why not play spoiler? Why
Yep.
not figure out what you can do in a game where it has to matter for one team, so you're going to play your best and frankly just again play for something and get your guys up. Like I don't think there's any bigger motivation for losing teams than playing spoiler. Like I think that's
I
just one
mean,
of it's like
it's certainly carried into the Lions season this year. Like
yeah, and I think
that is such a confidence booster no
yep,
matter what happens.
it proved to Dan Campbell and company as well as the Lions that they had a framework there and that they believed in themselves that they could go out and win the game and they did. And of course they didn't have the same cast of players who was there in that win versus who they started this season, but I don't think it's coincidence how last year ended for the Lions on their winning streak to I should say winning streak, their end of year run because I think
Surge.
they went I think they were in the same exact position the Bears are in where they ended the year I think 6-1 or five
They're
and
like
one or
1-8.
right, and I think they lost to the Seahawks in week 16 or 17, and that was their season. Like they had to win out to get there, but then they won more and obviously won the last game of the season. Like I think this is just a very important week for the Bears, and that's why the Packers need to come ready to execute on Sunday. Because if they come out lackadaisical or they come out lollygagging, I just don't think it's going to work out well for them. And they've had like that as of late, they've been fine early on. Like even in the first drive of the Minnesota game, I think they went 3-and-out, and they got on track with their second drive. But they need to get to a fast start against the
Yep.
Bears because I'm not going to say they're explosive, but when you have a talent like Justin Fields and you have a player like DJ Moore, there's opportunities for explosive plays from them, and so it'll be a challenge for sure. Moving on, the defense for the Bears has allowed the third fewest rushing yards to running backs this season, but they have trouble covering those running backs in space in the passing game. 7 touchdowns this year they've allowed, which is second most in the NFL behind the Cardinals. So Aaron Jones just might be as important this week as he was in the game against the Panthers and in the game against the Vikings. Like we could see this will be an interesting stat, Jordan. The first time we've seen a back-to-back-to-back 100-yard rusher or something in Packers history. I'm not even sure when the last time that happened. If it has happened, I'm sure it has. But yeah, an
Mm,
Aaron Jones performance like the last 2 weeks would be a welcome sight.
I agree. I worry that they would maybe spam a lot of design plays to get him involved in the passing game. But clearly, with a Bears team that, yes, they have a really good secondary, they have at least a star pass rusher, not necessarily a full blown like, hey, this is a front line that you're scared of, and an improved linebacker core. But like Aaron Jones, even one half on however many plays it was in week one, maybe 11, he burned them pretty easily. Um, and yeah, I would. He's it's always gonna be the bellwether of just how a game goes. Like I think Jordan Love himself can win a game, especially with the stakes. Like it is, we have seen. You know what? I'll save this point because I'm sure one of us is gonna pick him for players to watch.
All right, that sounds good. Um, yeah, I just think that I totally agree with that. He is the bellwether. It's if he goes one drive with a few touches and then we don't see him for a quarter, that's I don't think good for vibes in general. I think a lot of us will be a little upset at that. But I guess on offense to continue with that, it's going to be I think I want to see more of the running game early to again from what they've been doing all year long, getting that play action pass game going because they've been doing so well with it. But you made a good note here is that do the Packers just avoid whatever side Jalen Johnson is
I sure
covering?
would.
Yeah, because he's
Do
darn good.
you do you want to hear his stats? I not
Go
I have
for
a
it.
bad memory already, so
It's up in the bit I passed over on accident.
I per PFF, he has the highest coverage grade of anyone on note of this season for like a defender. Not there's like those like stats where you look it
Yes.
up and like oh it's
Yes.
some DN but he's only had 7 coverage
Yep.
snaps.
Yep.
Doesn't count to my hands. 50 targets for Jalen Johnson. He's only allowed 25 catches, 195 receiving yards, 115 after the catches. Kind of really interesting. And one TD. I believe he is at 4 interceptions on the season. He was a someone that was really coveted at the trade deadline, and why wouldn't you? Because he's legitimately
Good.
possibly the best cornerback in the league right now, even not on a team that's not going to make the playoffs. Um, I think if this was an Aaron Rodgers at his peak, we saw plenty of those games where the Packers are playing the Seahawks. Whoever's lined up against Richard Sherman's just gonna be a non-factor because Rodgers not gonna throw that side of the ball
Right.
or that side of the field.
Right.
So for me to see what you have on one side of the field with Jalen Johnson to the other side, I think you gotta pick the other side.
The other side being reigning defensive player of the week, Tyreek Stevenson, coming off of a 2 interception, 4 PBU, and 5 tackle week, but on the season has a 59.4 coverage grade from PFF. He's a rookie. He's allowed a league high 9 TDs on 103 targets. And then 4 of those TDs have come in man coverage as well. So I think it'll be interesting. Like if Christian Watson plays, I wonder who gets that assignment. Like I imagine it would be probably Jalen Johnson just to prevent the big play from happening. But if I think that's where the health of these receivers comes into play quite critically because if you have a healthy Christian Watson and a healthy Jaden Reed, he can't cover 2 guys, and those are the 2 biggest
No.
playmakers in your passing game right now. Um, Outside of momentum with Bo Melton, and obviously Dontayvion Wicks if he's at full health as well. I'm just excited to see how that passing game works out. Like I think it could be a fun game to see how Jordan Love attacks Jalen Johnson if he does choose to do that. I'm trying to think, Jordan, when was the last time Jordan Love threw an interception? Do you remember?
Oh,
Um,
not
I
the
got
Vikings game.
I got his game log here. I'll pull it up. The last time he threw an interception was against the Giants, and then before that, it was against the Steelers. He's had one interception since the Chargers game, so he's been pretty good. He's been pretty good at
He's
accurate, I
just
should
beefed
say,
it up.
and just made good decisions. He's just been playing so well throughout the season. Like we saw like that during the losing streak, like the worst parts of Jordan Love, trying to force balls, just not throwing good balls, obviously. But since the middle of the season, he's been playing a lot better, making better decisions. I think this is going to be the most important part of it is can he continue to make those good decisions and can he continue to be able to put the ball where he wants it, avoid drops from his receivers to where you get interceptions that way, just off fingertips, things like that. So, yeah, I mean, if he can start chucking deep balls to Christian Watson, I honestly would be surprised if they sent Christian Watson deep, given his hamstring, because they're finicky. So, but I don't know. I'm kind of curious as to how they'll use him if he's healthy, that being Christian Watson. But I'm confident in Jordan Love's ability to attack Jalen Johnson over there. Just go for it. I think at this point, like if you really want to show out as to the quarterback you're developing to be, maybe you don't shy away from it. You kind of test him once or twice. But I think I also agree with you that if you have Christian Watson being covered by Jalen Johnson on one side and Jaden Reed on the other being covered by Tyreek Stevenson, I think you just feed Jaden Reed most of the game.
By the way, week one, Jalen Johnson was targeted 4 times, allowed 1 catch for 13 yards. When the Packers play the Bears.
Right. So, for note, for note,
For note,
yeah, I think I'm not gonna I'm not gonna get into players to watch just yet because I think a theme to watch is just the protection for Jordan Love. If Elton Jenkins doesn't play, it's gonna be a bit testy, tenuous maybe, and I don't want to see Royce Newman. I'd rather see Sean Ryan. And I'm not sure Matt LaFleur and company make that decision. Like I think offensive line decisions is going to be a pretty important part of how Sunday shakes out. And if it's bad and it leads to a loss, I think that's a conversation we have to talk about because this is a mistake that Matt LaFleur and company have made before, putting Royce Newman in the game.
yeah, that is maybe the biggest question that no one is going to really think of, at least first,
Right.
going into this game. Not having Elton would be a huge loss. He's been, frankly, the most dependable lineman on this team.
He's a Pro Bowl reserve.
Yeah, there you go. Um, I really I think there's combinations where they can go to maybe Sean Ryan goes in at the guard spot. You maybe maneuver around some way, but like we're talking about Elton Jenkins here. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he's in the same class as Bach in a lot of ways, at least current day Bakhtiari.
Right.
So yeah, that's a huge loss that I don't want to think about.
I don't either, but I think it's going to be important. I think it's
Yeah,
going to be a pretty important part of this game. And I think so is just in general the health of the entire team. Like that's an obvious thing to say, but we had 20 players on the injury report. Like that's significant, and it makes sense. It's an 18 game season or 18-week season. You're at the last week. It makes sense that this would be one of the longer reports you have. I'm just hoping that a lot of those critical players, Quay, Devondre, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, like all Elton Jenkins, all these players are able to go so that we have the best shot of making the postseason as possible. Because we were in this spot last year as podcasters, Jordan, right? And
yep.
we thought we had it in the bag. We were going against a Lions team that we thought was going to be easy pickings at home. Like I understand that
I wonder how we thought of it at the
I
time.
bet I don't think I don't want to say like we were bragging that we were gonna win.
bold.
Yeah, I don't think we were that because no no full measures around here. Always half measures, but I think we were more confident that we had a Hall of Fame quarterback at home in a do or die game against a defense that was
Yeah,
giving
well,
up 40 points a game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think we were more confident that the odds were ever in our favor.
yeah. That was to show us how much good that proved.
Right. Exactly. So no, I'm excited for the game. I'm nervous for the game. Um, in Green Bay, I think it's supposed to be cold. Not cold, cold, cold,
I
but
was just about to look up the weather because
um, I think it'll.
Sunday 37, high of 37, no
So
precipitation.
so not cold.
Humidity is 73%. It honestly is akin to what it was for the Buccaneers game.
Yeah. Which it's just kind of how this year is going. It's a warm year, but yeah, we'll see. It's a good.
It's a warm year.
Well, Jordan,
I
we got 2 inches of snow in Milwaukee in like October, and there hasn't been any covering since. So
True.
the frozen tundra isn't so frozen. I think it's just a good winter football game for Lambeau, frankly. Like,
Yeah, we need one.
yeah. So, alrighty, let's get into the players to watch.
Ah,
I know. Go for it. Who's your player to watch for either team?
um, I'll start with Bears. DJ Moore.
Good pick.
I really the secondary has like we could say a lot of different things about the secondary right now with the Packers, but it is like everything. It's not even just about the season; it's about the decisions that have gone into the season, where maybe we presented this scenario in a off-season pod, maybe we didn't, but we probably thought, hey, if your season's on the line, so maybe you're playing for a playoff berth. Maybe it comes down to playing the Chicago Bears in Week 18 and your secondary is starting a rookie cornerback that was drafted in the seventh round and a journeyman cornerback from you undrafted, I believe. We probably not have a lot of faith in that secondary, not at all. On top of all the safeties questions that we've had, and it's obviously been a revolving door throughout the year. However, do I think that that may be the best way to go with this? I don't know. I think Jair Alexander is going to be helpful just to have because I do think he plays up to the opponent that he is facing when he is playing to his strengths or is deployed to play to his strengths, if that makes sense. So it's such a loaded question just to think of like what could possibly happen because I don't have any guess. No one has any guess. No one has any guess of how it's going to be rotated. Do they have a quick hook with Jair? Because we get all caught up in the coin toss controversy. Guy hasn't really played a game. He's played one game in the last 2 months
Right.
and did not play very well.
Nope.
So, like, I don't know. I Justin Fields scares me. DJ Moore scares me. I think there's at least more to bank on them kind of working in tandem rather than hey, we're the Minnesota Vikings, we're starting a rookie fifth round quarterback that hadn't played that they already benched just at some point in the year. Like it is a very different set of circumstances. It's not a great set of circumstances because as we've been talking about, like they can move on from Justin Fields. But there is at least something there that I am scared of in terms of DJ Moore being able to get what he wants against a Packers secondary that I don't know how they're going to play.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I am going to go off that same point, and my picks are the quarterbacks, Justin Fields and Jordan Love. So I will go into Justin Fields first. I think in order to win this game, they have to limit his ability to get out of the pocket. He's really good at doing it, but I think if they can make him a pocket passer, they will be just fine throughout this game. Where they get into trouble is they allow him to scramble and extend plays, which is his absolute strength. So I you said you're scared of him. I'm not like horrified of him, but I'm definitely not enthused to play him. He had a lot of spicy things to say this week, saying that the fans are going to be loud because the only thing to do in Green Bay is watch football. Okay, sir, Justin Fields, as a Green Bay native, one, you're not wrong, so frig off. Two, they're going to be loud because they're playing the biggest rival in a Week 18 game where they're playing for a playoff spot. They're not cheering loud because nothing to do. They're cheering loud because they have fans. And
Yeah.
just because your fans boo you sometimes and are possibly moving to the suburbs out of the city of Chicago, that doesn't mean that these guys up here, all these fans up here, shouldn't be cheering loud in the first place. So think about
Don't
that.
come at Numac.
I think it's just a stupid quote. Like, it's just like he could pick anything besides like how original is picking on Green Bay for being a small city. It's just not original.
There's not much to do there. There's that Oneida Casino and Ed's small meat shop on Main Street. Is that what he said?
Something like that. Like, it's just, if you're gonna pick beef with a city, just maybe give some respect to the rivalry and not, oh, they're just cheering loud because they're bored. No, we're cheering loud because the Bears and the Packers have a 100-year-old rivalry, and we want to kick your ass. We want to get into the
City
playoffs.
pride.
Right. Like, it's just whatever. So all that being said, if you let Justin Fields
If you come at the G, you better hit. That's what you're saying.
exactly, you bet geez, I almost was problematic. Or not problematic, just had a thought cross my mind that wasn't going to be appropriate. I hesitate to let Justin Fields cook this game in a very similar fashion as to, do you let Duncan Robinson get hot at the end of game 2 of the first round last year? I'm serious. I'm serious, Jordan. Like, he's been playing well, right?
Duncan Robinson is like maybe one of the best 3-point shooters in NBA history.
But for a year and a half before that, he absolutely wasn't. He was playing awful. He wasn't in the rotation, Jordan.
He was not, but that's
and this is my point, is that if you allow a guy who was a first round pick, who has talent, be able to see that talent manifest.
I don't no. I'm not buying this analogy. I'm not buying it. I'm putting it down. I understand what you're trying to say is if you let a shooter start shooting. Yes, I understand, but I don't. Duncan Robinson was literally like, I don't want. This is a football podcast. I'm not going to go into basketball.
Regardless, on the other quarterback, Jordan Love, you have an opportunity to do what your predecessor could not last year in the same exact scenario. I'm not saying we should be comparing them, because I think all of us in Packers fandom are sick of the comparisons in the first place. But golly, you can't shy away from this one. This is the same scenario. I think it'd be pretty close to the same record, if I'm not mistaken, Jordan, if they would have won.
Last year?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just a carbon copy of last year. And if you want to show that you're the guy and that you deserve a big contract, which I'm not saying he doesn't already, then go
There's
out
a financial incentive here.
I think he gets $1 million if they win. Or $1.5 million.
His base salary would be escalated by as much as $4 million,
Yep.
according to ESPN's Rob Domofsky.
Yep. So
Possible if the Packers make the playoffs, Love's salary in 2024 will increase by $500,000. They win a playoff game, it's another $500,000. It kind of keeps going on and on as those escalators would get triggered.
And I believe if they win, I think they get up to the 6th seed with a Rams loss. So there's even an opportunity here to have a chance to host a playoff game. Like, that would be cool for Jordan Love and these guys early on. Again, that's if they win 3 games and the seventh seed, which would be the
The
Rams at that
Rams.
point, go on a run too. But I mean, go for it. This is his time to shine on a what is going to be prime time slot to showcase that he is the next quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Fans and the fans have nothing to worry about, and the rest of the NFL does. So go do it.
That was to expound what I was saying for this moment is that Jordan Love has made huge progress throughout this season, especially over the latter half of the year. We've seen real strides. We've seen him be comfortable. It has not taken him a lot of drives to kind of get his feet wet, get into the game. Sometimes, yeah, maybe they have a three and out like last week, but then he's dealing. I also would not be surprised to see kind of this is the big moment. This is the biggest moment of his career to date. I would not be
1,000%.
surprised. I would not be surprised to see him kind of know that he's in that moment and have some kind of wobbly moments. Like he's a very confidence based quarterback. And when he's feeling he's in a rhythm, like that is where we are seeing, oh, that is the guy that is going to lead the next Packers team to a Super Bowl. There's also the moments where it can get a little too big for him, it can get a little too rushed for him. It's all about finding that equilibrium, and it's not easy. That's why these moments, it's going to be one, really fun when things are going right, and two, like you want everything to go away because he may have thrown a pick or he may have gotten sacked or lost the ball or whatever. Like this is, I like that we're in this moment in this game coming up for him because we talked all season long about wanting to see these kind of proven moments. He's proven a lot, and I have no reservations about what his career in Green Bay is like moving forward. But in terms of this Packers team going to the playoffs, I would obviously like to see Jordan Love be very successful.
Yeah, I think I expect a lot of like nerves from the young guys. Like we might
Yes.
see a couple drops and it might be frustrating, but I think that's just part of it, right? And hopefully these guys are just up for it rather than shrinking in the moment. So, who is your last player?
Well, obviously Jordan Love is going to be mine, but
That's
I
why I
like
stole it.
it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna go a little bit different. I don't think we have ever mentioned his name as a player to watch at all this year. Surprisingly, maybe I'm wrong. Kenny Clark.
I think I might have had him
You
once.
might have actually, now that I'm thinking about it. He steps up for divisional games. I know his PFF grades, not that it's an end all be all. It has not reflected, oh, that was the top defender of this game or whatever. But Kenny Clark, like last year, is really turning on late into the year. He had It wasn't Preston Smith that had the most pressures last week. It was Kenny Clark. He had 8. He can himself command so much attention, and we know how this Bears offensive line is. I believe it's obviously gotten better that they're moving the ball and scoring points and everything like that. But it's not like we're not talking about the Eagles. We're not talking about I don't know, not even the Packers this year. Like there are holes in this offensive line, and with the amount of attention that he commands, and still manages to put in 8 pressures against a good Vikings offensive line. I think he is such a catalyst in a lot of ways where if it's not just about the attention that he gets, but if he does break through, it can kind of force Fields out of the pocket where a guy like Lucas Van Ness, Preston Smith, obviously Rashawn Gary, JJ Enagbari, if he just kind of goes into open arms like that, that would be wonderful. But I think the Packers obviously need some kind of disruptor to really set the tone that in a way that it's not just about scoring points. It's a way about, oh, let's put our best foot forward defensively. And that was what last week was. And I I think Kenny Clark might have the best chance of doing that.
Great point. Great point. Score predictions. I'll go first since I made you go first on players. Man, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go 30 to 24. Packers. They win. They get in. Jordan Love is the next franchise quarterback to torment the Chicago Bears for the next 15 years.
Additional prediction: do they perhaps get to the 6th seed?
That's gonna be.
So I'm basically
that's
asking you: do you think the Rams lose?
Well, that's a tough question because the Rams are starting Carson Wentz and the 49ers are starting Sam Darnold.
I think the Rams lose.
I think they lose too, but like you're asking me to predict us a game in which none of the starters are playing. So
Very well.
I think it's at the 49ers. Yeah, I think the Rams lose, get to the 7th seed, and then they would end up playing the Cowboys, I believe, is currently.
Cowboys, baby.
If the Cowboys win, they're the 2nd seed. If the Lions win and the Cowboys lose, they're the 2nd seed. But basically the Packers are, I think, well, it doesn't matter. We won't do playoff scenarios at this point, unless you want to quickly.
No.
Okay. So, yes, I think the Rams lose. So they get to the 6th seed and play most likely Detroit.
What fun. I'm gonna go. I'll do a similar way. I'll go 24-17 Packers.
All right.
One score game.
I think it's going to be closer than we want it to be. But boy, Jordan. 49-0. Imagine.
I don't think it's in the realm of possibilities, but
But it'd be pretty cool.
It'd be pretty.
Pretty cool if you did.
It'd be pretty cool if they did. They won 49-0.
That's right. All right, folks, that does it for us. An extra long episode of Tot this week we go into one of the most important games of the year, arguably the most important game of the year. So appreciate you all for listening. Hope you guys liked all the content. Check out gspn.info for the latest and greatest all things Wisconsin sports and pop culture. You can check out Ty and Rohan, who are recording right now with us on the other account, too, as they record the After the Bucks.
They don't need to know that.
They don't need to know that, but it happened, and I'm not editing it out. So, as they record after the Bucks squeaked out a win over the San Antonio Spurs, I need a final series between Victor Wembanyama and Giannis ASAP. That was an amazing game to watch. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but I need it more.
That might be like 2030, maybe.
I need it more than twice a year for the next couple of years. I just need more of it. So they're recording after that. Adam McGee and Andrew Snyder just dropped a fresh, hot episode of Cruising for a Bruising, where they give out grades for the Brewers outfield and talk about the continued waiting game that is the offseason for the Brewers, who barely make any signings at all through the free agency thus far. And then you can check out also, I forgot a Bucks pod. Check out Win in 6 as they had their 400th episode recently, as well as had a tribute to the late Herb Cole, who passed away, I think, last week of Christmas, right?
Yep. So
that is a great pod that my lovely co-host Jordan Treska here and Adam put together that came out earlier this week. So go check it out. It was very, very good. And to get back to Adam McGee and Andrew Snyder's other pod, make time for this. Just go watch movies. Go through the list. check out which movie you want to see. I'm just like scrolling down to the bottom to see how far I can go back. And what is this? Getting lost in Christian Petzold's dreamlike cinema of ghosts. If you like Christian Petzold, go check out that pop from July 2021. With that being said, that is all from us. Please follow us on Twitter and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the rate and review button on Spotify, on podcasts, or all that kind of stuff. And we'll be back. Who knows when? Maybe live. I don't know on Sunday. Maybe not. Maybe Monday morning. I don't know. Life is a fickle realm right now for one of the top hosts, and we'll just have to kind of vibe with how the year brings good tidings to a household. But we'll see. With that, thank you for listening, and Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.